About a few of the teams in the Scioto Valley Conference last year, but this year we're expanding our coverage to the entire SVC. Here to give us a preview of those teams is senior reporter Josh Gregory.
Well, Joey P., it is great to be back on set with you. We got brand new teams, brand new season. Let's get right to it, starting with the team that won it all last year, and we're talking about the Zane Trace Pioneers.
And you just mentioned it, the defending champs, so they definitely have some high expectations this year. Do you think they can do it again?
Joey, I think their chances are pretty high. For starters, they won every game in the SVC last year. And JP, the Pioneers' backfield is stacked this season. Running back Etheridge Games and fullback Will Palmer combined for over 1,100 rushing yards last year, and they're back this season. And let's not forget that Zane Trace runs the ball a lot, so these two will be key. However, last year's quarterback Austin Harris is gone, and he rushed for over 1,200 yards and threw for almost 2,000. Ty Shanton will fill in for him, and first-year head coach Don Coons says he's confident the 190-pound senior has what it takes.
You know, it's safe to say that both Coach Coons and Shanton have some huge shoes to fill. Now, Josh, Unioto, they usually dominate this conference. In fact, before last year, they won the SVC 10 times in a row. So we can't sleep on them, right?
You're definitely right about that, Joey. And I think they will have a tough run for the crown this year. The Sherman Tanks went 6-1 last year in the SVC, losing only to Zane Trace. However, they also said goodbye to a quarterback, Clay Edler, who rushed for 18 touchdowns and threw for another 20. Now, the Tanks are returning all of their running backs, so they still have some key players in Jamarcus Carroll and Dayton Poole, but the loss of Edler looks to be pretty tough for the blue and gold.
I'll agree with you on that, Josh, but I'm also excited to see what Nehemiah Feltz can do for them. Now, let's talk about Piketon. They finished third last year, but they also lost their starting quarterback.
And that's a problem for a lot of these teams in this conference. They're all looking for new QBs. Just like Edler, Gabe Bergheimer was critical to the Red Streak's success, rushing for 1,000 yards and throwing for almost 2,000. Piketon is probably going to rely on Zane Barker at running back. He rushed for about 350 yards and 7 touchdowns last year, and they've even got him slotted as backup QB behind sophomore Connor Galloway. If Barker finds his groove early this season, I think Piketon has a solid chance of competing in those top 3 spots again.
Yeah, I think they have a solid chance as well. So now that we've talked about the teams that our viewers may be familiar with, go ahead and give us an introduction to the teams that they've not seen.
Gladly. I think our viewers are in for a surprise this year. I'm excited to see these teams in action. We have Adena, Huntington, Southeastern, Westfall, and Paint Valley. And here's the way I see things stacking up in the SVC. Southeastern and Adena tied for 4th last year, but I think Southeastern has an edge this year. In fact, call it a big prediction, but I see Southeastern either tying or passing Piketon for that 3rd spot behind Unioto. The Panthers are returning quarterback Dalton Chaffin and running back Dakota Hauser, Carson Stauffer, and Greg Rager, so they don't have as much rebuilding to do. Whereas Adena lost quarterback Jake Dawson and tight end Wyatt Shanton. They still have running back J.D. Blevins, so I don't think they'll fall too far off the map.
Well, Josh, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what goes down in the SVC this year. Thanks for the good work, man. And here